Senator Scott, Senator Lee, it's great to be with you as members of the Freedom Caucus talking about something that is actually an existential crisis. And so let's just consider what the House Freedom Caucus proposal entailed. It entailed wanting to cut wasteful, weaponized, and woke spending programs to get this nation back on track. That's all it was. It's a common sense approach. We sit at $31.4 trillion in national debt today. The Biden budget plan, what they propose is a $20 trillion increase to take us to $50 trillion in national debt by 2033. And over the next 2 years, they want to raise the debt ceiling by almost $4 trillion. That's astronomical. So what did the Freedom Caucus do? They said, well, look, none of us have ever voted for a debt ceiling increase, but we would entertain it. We would consider it if we got some conditions, some things that might actually help the country. How about clawing back the student loan forgiveness plan that not only forgave debts, but also restructured others for a total of, as I learned this weekend, $609 billion. $609 billion. How about doing that? How about cutting Biden's invasive IRS army? House has already passed it. We need the Senate to take it up. That's another $80 billion. How about elimination of the wacky, crazy Green New Deal tax credits and subsidies? That's $350 billion. Now you're talking real money. You're talking $1 trillion. And in a nation where we have a structural debt every month, structural deficit every month of $100 billion, you can push out that debt ceiling, necessity of debt ceiling increase by almost a year with some common sense, rational plans. It's real simple. And not only that, we're not proposing anything like I'm filtering here, what our Commander-in-Chief has proposed with regard to the budget. We're not touching Social Security retirement benefits. We're not proposing anything on a reduction in Medicare benefits. And we sure as heck aren't saying let's cut the border security funding. Not like this administration is doing in their budget proposal. We actually will immediately save more than $1 trillion with the cuts and the rescissions that we've proposed. This is the vehicle to get us moving back in the right direction. And in a country where the main driver of inflation is really one thing, and that is the out-of-control federal spending, this is an opportunity to turn back the clock on inflation. And then you throw in the fact that we have an energy policy plan as well and get our domestic energy production going again, and that will reduce costs of about 40%. Because you know who's getting hammered the most? It isn't the White House. It's not the folks that live in that bubble. It's the American citizen, the men and women who live in this country. And it's time we do something to help them and stop playing games. And I tell you what, if we enact the House Freedom Caucus plan, you don't need to raise that debt ceiling tomorrow. You don't have to raise it in August, because we will start bringing down that monthly structural deficit, which drives the increase in the national debt, which in turn drives your inflation. Let's stop it now. With that, I am pleased to stand with my friends from the Senate, and I will, and the men and women of the House Freedom Caucus, and I'm now pleased to throw it to my good friend from Texas, Mr. Chip Roy.